deserves two of them this morning. I'm aware that it's only Tuesday. I know that we have 2 more days until Thursday, but for some reason, I don't know, just seemed to be a good day. It seemed to be a good day for a little thunder. How is everyone? How are we all doing? I had a couple of odd things happen, and that's where refresh. Now that I'm here, we have to make sure that you're here so that we're all here, all in this boat together. All right, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. There she is. There's her silly hammer. And now, click, click. Hello, click. She's frozen. Oh, no, there she is. And oh, there's something about a Thor's hammer in the morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is a very strange and interesting time that I'm having working on the Pivotry in Motion book, because I'm doing so many of these videos that I keep thinking I've already written things, because I'm talking about all of this Pivotry stuff that's going on with us. And then I'm reading through and I'm thinking, oh wait, no, I didn't write it at all. I said it, and now I have to figure out what I meant when I said it and get it right. And the thing I wanted to talk, and I was in the grocery store, and I stood there shaking my head, because sometimes shaking your head is the only polite thing you can do. Once upon a time, a long time ago, in a far-off land, there was a king who had a beautiful daughter, the princess. Once upon a time, I had an extraordinary opportunity to work with a really brilliant woman who had studied the brain. She'd been in a rather nasty accident, and in getting better, in healing herself, she had, I'm sorry, but that seems a little high. I'm just going to bring this down. Is that a little better? Is that better? I hope that's better. She had discovered some things about the way the brain works, and I thought it was fascinating. And there, that looks more like it, doesn't it? Okay. So anyway, she discovered some extraordinary things about the fact that the brain does things we're not aware of. And that led her to understand and look into more deeply this whole business of the limbic brain, the primitive brain that looks after us and keeps us alive and stops us from dying in our sleep, because it keeps everything going. And this brain is so primitive that it doesn't really think in anything but the present tense, and it's wired to simply do the basic survival functions. It works on fight or flight. It's not a thinking brain. It's a knee-jerk reaction brain, and it causes us to blink and keep the heart beating and the lungs doing all its stuff, and for which we are very grateful. It is also primarily a repository for our memories, and it repetitive motions. So, for instance, when we're driving on the highway, and you'll tell me, well, good morning, Garen. How are you? Charles, good morning. Coffee in hand, ready for today's lesson. Oh dear, Charles. I don't know if it's so much a lesson today as a what the hell am I doing day. Um, anyway, this brain is primitive, and it can do things like drive the car, it can do the ironing, it can wash dishes, it can mow the lawn, and because those are simple repetitive functions and we've always done them, and so we don't really have to think about it. As a result, our thinking brain is set free to wander off and do other things. How we know when the automatic cave brain has been in charge is that it doesn't take care of things that we need today. It doesn't take care of stopping to get milk on the way home. It doesn't take care of waving to people who recognize us and wave, because it doesn't know these people. It's a very primitive. It's set back in the distance. And the other thing that it does is that it pulls out of the memory banks fear-based reactions to things. And these are so automatic, we don't even know we do them. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples that are going to make you, I think, say, oh, God, I've done that. They're so automatic, we don't realize they even exist. They just happen. So when you're driving, and all of a sudden, an animal jumps out, or the car ahead of us veers off the road, we're startled. Now, the reason we're startled is not because they did that. It's because the brain driving the car isn't in the present tense. The brain driving the car is automatically, gas, steer. It's not aware of what is currently happening. So all of a sudden, when something currently happens, that brain hands it off to our stage manager brain, who was planning supper and thinking about whether or not to buy those curtains when we get home. And so when it's all of a sudden handed off, here, you do it, we go, oh, and we're startled. And then we take control. This happens all the time. When we need milk and we say, we get in the car, need milk. At some point, the repetition of the drive home kicks in. Even if we have said, I need milk, every 5 seconds, at some point, we stop doing it because the cave brain is driving the car. We get home, we pull into the driveway, and the cave brain hands everything back to the thinking brain, the strategic brain, and the strategic stage manager brain says, milk. Why the hell? And so this woman who taught me all this stuff about the brain, in order that I was smart enough to help her with her book, because ghostwriters can get into your steps and into your rhythm and your pace and your language, but they don't know all the back stuff. We have to be educated to that stuff. And what she was saying was, that brain, that cave brain that operates on this save your life level all the time and has no ability to rationalize anything, strategically consider cause and effect. No, it responds in a knee-jerk way. And a great example of this came up in a conversation that I was having with her when she said, my son wants a cat. And I said, oh God. I said, I used to be allergic to cats. And she smiled at me and she said, but you're not allergic anymore. And I said, no, it's kind of gone away. And she said, so probably you were never allergic to cats. And I said, no, I can assure you that I was allergic to cats. I could be, walk into a house, have no idea there was a cat there, and within 30 minutes, I had all of the signs and symptoms of a full-blown head cold. And she said, okay, so I'm going to explain to you why that was. And you'll tell me if I've struck a chord. And I said, okay. And she said, you had cats your whole life? And I said, yeah. And she said, what was the first story you can remember of a cat involved in a crisis? And I said, oh, yeah, we had this alley cat, feral cat practically, who kept sneaking out at night and getting beaten up. And we were on our way out to dinner, and my dad was worried because the poor cat had come home looking like it was on its last legs. And we were heading out for dinner, and my dad opened the garage door for us to take the car out, and the cat made a break for it. And my dad reached for the handle on the garage door to bring the door down instinctively, even though it was way too late. The cat was gone. And he put his hand where the sliding segments of the garage door, and he pinched the end of his long middle finger. Came in the house and said, I think we need to go to the hospital. And and it was blood and everything. It was horrifying. But my dad had no sensation of pain. So he said, I've hurt myself. And my mother's fainting, and I'm. So we went to the hospital, and he had to have a skin graft because he'd really, it had clipped off the end of his finger. So that was the first one. And she said, and after that, and I said, we had 2 Siamese cats, and one of them was elegant and beautiful and intelligent, and the other one was an idiot. And the idiot used to eat all the hems of my clothes in my closet. So I'd see all these little, scalloped edges to things. And then eventually I would find the place where the cat had changed his mind and upchucked everything someplace hidden. And she said, and after that, and I said, well, after that, let's see, after that. Yeah. I went to work for a woman who I didn't get along with, and she had a cat that was deaf. And it was a long-haired cat, and I would wake up in the morning and it was sleeping. Go away. It was deaf, though. I couldn't yell at it. And I would, put it out on the fire escape and put it in the bathroom at night. It would yell and stuff. And finally I moved out. I quit the job, not because of the cat, but because things happened. I didn't really like the woman. And she said, and now you're not allergic to cats. And I said, no. She said, when was the last cat you had? And I said, well, I guess that was it. And she said, all right, so this is what your brain has done. Your cave brain has said that any time there is danger, any time something important to you is at risk, there's a cat. Cat, danger. Cat, pain. Cat, life-threatening. Your cave brain has assumed that the cat is something you should never be near. And so it gave your body permission to send out alarm bells every time there was a cat. And I said, well, that's crazy. And I said, well, how about when I go into a house and I don't know they have a cat? And she said, you can smell a cat. Everybody can smell a cat. You probably out of the corner of your eye saw the little cat dish or a toy. And she said, and you haven't had any alarms go off in a long time? And so your cave brain has deleted the red flag. And I thought, that's very interesting. And I've always kept that thought to investigate anytime I have a knee-jerk reaction to something that is over the top and not really rational. Why? Hang on, Charles said, Dad was the same way with pain. Interesting, Charles, because that's where I'm going with this next. So what the cave brain is doing in its past tense world where there is only one tribe and only one cave where we need to be safe, the cave brain is doing everything it can to keep us safe. And over the years, when we hear someone say something that resonates with us, we hear somebody who we respect, who matters to us, and they play a really important pivotal role in our lives. When we hear them say something, and it happens at a time when something important took place, the cave brain stores that. And in a moment when we are triggered by a similar situation, the cave brain calls that up, hands it out to us to say. And the other day, I opened my mouth to say something in response to this weird thing that happened. And I heard myself say, everyone has to make an effort. And I didn't say it like that. I just said, everybody has to make an effort. And then I stopped dead. It had not made an effort. When some idiot had chosen not to think and had caused the utmost damned astonishment. and I said it, and I stopped where I was. And then I said, again out loud, "Hi, Dad." What was that for? And people I was with said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Pay no attention to me. I'm just having a moment." But here's what the trigger was. Here's what the trigger was. There's a promotion going on in our local grocery store. Where I live right now, there are 3 grocery stores within about a 5-minute radius and 7 gas stations. And then there's another gas station that is 10 minutes away. So intelligently, the owners of that chain have made a deal with my favorite grocery store that when you purchase your groceries, you can ask for air miles or a receipt for a discount on gas. And so that's called affiliate marketing. And one service and one location and one vendor. If they partner with somebody else you'll probably like, everybody wins. I remember that there was a dentist who often, when you had gone through the pain and then you had to go through the pain again when you paid for the pain that they had caused, there was a little coupon, and it was for a massage. And I don't think it was free. I think it was like 50% off or something. And it was a local spa. And I remembered the first time, and I said, "Ooh, a massage! What an interesting idea." And the receptionist said, "Well, if you're going to invest in self-care, then you're going to invest in self-care." And I thought, what a very, very interesting way of looking at it. Because certainly taking care of your teeth is self-care, right? We don't equate it with a massage, but they're in the same family. So hang on a second. I grew up on a farm, allergic to all the animal dander, even cats. Had a cat for 25 years, cats near all cat, all. Cats drove me battier. Yes, Karen, battier. The situation was right now, wow, how much off for gas? 12 cents. What? Grab the receipt and run like the wind to the gas station. Dance over to the pump, fill up more than you were going to, swan on into the gas station, present the receipt. And the person behind the thing flipped over the receipt and said, "Sorry, we can't accept it." "What do you mean you can't accept it?" "I just got it from the grocery store." "Yeah, well, it needs to have the logo on the back of the receipt. We can't accept it." I said, "What are you talking about, the logo on the back? Here's the other part of the transaction." "Yeah, you could have faked it." I'm sorry? I could have faked it? What are you talking about? I was just at the grocery store. See, time, date, just at the grocery store. Same transaction number, same transaction number. "Sorry, my hands are tied," and pointed to a little sign that said, "All gas discount coupons must be printed on whatever, whatever, whatever." And I thought, okay, that's really odd. While I was there, somebody else came in, presented their thing. Guy said the same thing. No, can't do it. Person balled up the thing, threw it in the garbage, and stomped out. Now, I'm a different sort of person. When I go to a store on a regular basis, I make friends with people. I make friends with the cashier. I make friends with the manager. Why? Well, because I'm like that. And also, on the off chance that I ever have a problem, they're going to remember me, and I can go and say I need some help, and they're more likely to help somebody they remember, as opposed to a complete and random stranger. So the next time I went to the grocery store, I had the receipt, and I said they wouldn't take it. And the cashier said, what do you mean? And I said, well, there's no stamp on the back. And she said, well, that's ridiculous. She said, would you do me a huge favor? This is an important thing for us. Would you do me a huge favor and go to the service counter when you're done? Yeah. So I've done the grocery shopping. I have things to do. But I made the detour, and I went to the service counter, and I told the service person. And she said, well, I'll stamp it for you. And she took out a stamp that had their and address and everything, stamp, and I said, thank you. And so I went to get gas. Again, guy said, no, stamp's no good. It has to be printed on the paper. And I said, you know, you're not making a lot of friends. And he said, company policy. So third try at the grocery store, I am at the same cashier. And she said, everything okay? And I said, no, they wouldn't take it. And she said, you're kidding me. And I said, no. So she said, would you go and tell? And I said, there was no printing on the back. So she gave me the receipt for this time, and the printing was on the back. And she said, oh, you know what? You know what? I bet it was. A couple of weeks ago, we were getting new rolls of paper coming in. We were getting a new supply coming in, and we'd run out. So we were just using the old plain rolls to print. She said, go talk to the service people. So I did, and they reprinted that original receipt, that discount, on the branded paper. And I went to get gas, and they accepted. And I came away from that, and I said to myself, that was a decision at head office. That was a decision at head office based on somebody who got scammed. It had to be. And the knee-jerk reaction was, not going to happen again, not on my watch. And they made it corporate policy. But they didn't make it corporate policy last month. They made it corporate policy at some point in time. And it didn't occur to anyone to rethink that corporate policy now. Or check that people are doing it the right way. Or why people are coming with the wrong receipts. The assumption by that person at that particular gas station was, well, you could have printed it up. You could be scamming us. Do I really look? Can't be too careful. It's a small town. It's a small community. There are other gas stations I could go to. Same price without the discount. And they lost a lot of customers. Now, can you imagine the conversation that took place when the service manager went to the store owner, the franchise owner, and said, this is the 43rd time. Can you imagine that phone call from that store manager to head office, and the head office call to the head office of that gas station chain? Can you imagine? For the sake of 12 cents a couple of times in a small town? Isn't that interesting? And when that happened, I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, because it happened, you know, it's been over a period of weeks, and I thought, that's not strategic thinking. That's not intelligent, big picture thinking. That's cave brain thinking. That's fear-based thinking. That's suspicion, emotion-driven thinking. And I thought, you know, didn't move away from the farm until Dad developed allergies. And I wonder what Dad was allergic to. Good morning, Sean. You know, here's the thing about, and Charles, you're saying you have cats and you love your cats. Here's the thing that's funny. Every time I see a cat, I don't leap in the air and cling to something. But every time I see a cat, I think, part of me thinks, fool me once. And it's not rational. It's not logical. It's fear-based. It's old programming. If somebody hands me a cat, I'm fine. They're adorable. But it's fear-based old programming that we can get rid of if we want to. I'm not saying that allergies are all emotionally driven, because some of them are very serious. Some of them are, it's our chemical imbalance. There's something with us and whatever that is, and they're very serious. But a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are driven by a series of negative events that took place far enough in the distant past that we don't remember why we feel the alarm. We just know that we feel it. And when that situation happened with the grocery store and the gas station chain, I heard somebody else in the grocery store saying, I had to drive out of my way to go and benefit from this, and I'm not doing that again. And somebody else said, man, it's 12 cents. And the person said, I don't care. Now, why did the person say, I don't care? Well, I can tell you. They can afford to buy groceries. They can afford to buy a nice bottle of wine. They can afford to buy steaks even if the steaks aren't on sale. And you know what else they've decided they can afford? They can afford to shop where people appreciate them. They can afford to choose where people respect them. And that was the other thing I thought of. We all can afford to shop where we're appreciated. We all can afford to prioritize people who respect us and treat us well. We all deserve that kind of respect. We all do. When we give up, when we don't stay present, when we allow our cave brain to operate on automatic pilot, we're not doing the best for us. We're not taking the extra couple of minutes because I like the people who run that grocery store. I like the manager. The manager has a great sense of humor. Every time he comes along and says, have we got somebody bagging your groceries? And I say, I'm going to do it. He says, no, let's get a professional. Cracks me up. They recognize me as a human being. They take it personally when I say, it's really good to see you. When I'm wearing the mask, I say, I'm smiling at you behind the mask. He says, I can tell. Those moments matter. And those moments don't happen when we're going through life on automatic pilot. They happen when we take the time and we make the effort, the way my father used to say, to do it right, to do it better, to do it for us, because we matter. We, as Thor would say in his own unique way, because we're walking here. And I know Gern's going to wonder why I'm not doing this. And the bright idea today, the bright idea is that we need to, every so often, stop and check that we're not on automatic pilot, that we really are in charge, we really are wearing our pants and not our pajamas, we really are going the way that benefits us. That's the bright idea. Who's driving? The thing I posted at the start of this is that every so often I get the feeling that my inner child is driving. And I don't mean in the car. I mean that I'll decide things and I'll pick things and I'll say to somebody who isn't expecting it, "Hi!" Just because it feels like one of those moments. And they jump and they say, "Where the hell did that come from?" It's my inner child just saying hello. When my inner child makes decisions, like I didn't really need chocolate and ice cream, what were you doing? I think to myself, inner child behind the wheel, I wonder where she thinks she's going. She can't drive. Unless I give her the power to do that. And the other part, the other corollary of that today, and all of this, believe me, is all part of the Pivotry in Motion introduction book, for us to really get how crazy and powerful and magical our coping mechanisms are. It blows me away. Is this: we don't always make wise choices. We make knee-jerk choices. We we lie to ourselves with a straight face. No, I'm perfectly capable, and I don't see anything wrong with that. We do it a lot. We do it all the time. What we also need to do, that we're not aware of until it's way too late, is we need to pay attention to the emotion that is driving our decisions, especially now, especially these days, all the time, but especially these days, and I'll tell you why. It is the cave brain, the limbic brain, that works on an emotional level. Fight, flight, freeze, hide, blend, comply. These are all emotion-driven, knee-jerk responses to danger, to fitting in, to making the alpha glad to see us, so we're not, tossed out of the cave and left to die. These are all very primitive decisions. When we make our decisions in an emotional state, we're not thinking. You can't think and be emotional at the same time. When we make a knee-jerk decision, we usually regret it, because when cooler heads prevail, we realize we overreacted or underreacted. We didn't do the best thing, the wise thing, the smart thing, for the big picture, for the long term, for us. And how we can pay attention to that is by using a hook, by using a trigger or a code that we get in the habit of using on a regular basis, every day, until it becomes part of our automatic knee-jerk cave brain function. Now, whatever code, whatever habit, whatever question you ask is going to be up to you. what I tend to do is use that wonderful line from the bikers in Brooklyn. When I have this decision, I say out loud, "Are you listening to you?" And that accomplishes two things. One is it makes me laugh. And the other is it reminds me. It reminds me to stop for a second. People will say count to 10 when you're angry. Okay, but when you're angry, you can't remember to count to 10. So it has to be something quick. It has to be something easy. It has to be something colorful. Maybe it's a snap of the fingers. Every time you're upset, every time you're euphoric, every time you're doing something impulsive, snap your fingers. Wear a wristband. Do something. Find a hook or a trigger that gives you that pause. Because there's a very, very old saying, it's just kind of danced through the back of my head, something about something in haste, regret in something. Somebody will remind me of it. And every time we do that, we jump into something, we yell for no reason. Here's what it does. It sets up a ripple effect. And it teaches us, the limbic brain learns to lean in with anger, lean in with fear. And that's not always a good idea. If we can reprogram the limbic brain to pause, to segue, to pull over, to do an other function that the limbic brain can do. Very basic, very repetitive, very simple. If we can teach our emotional brain one small, simple diversion, one distraction, one opportunity to think. There's many things that we are doing these days that we will avoid. And, bonus round, we will teach our limbic brain a new habit. Effectively, we'll teach it that we don't have to be allergic to that we're safe, that we're fine. It sounds, I know it sounds crazy, I know it sounds bizarre, but when you think of any situation recently, somebody has done something and your immediate reaction has been an emotion. You've been scared, you've been angry, you've panicked, you've gasped, your muscles have tensed. These are all signs that your limbic brain is preparing you for battle. When you pause now or after this video, when you pause and think about the last time you got really upset about something, really upset, ask yourself, did I really need to get that upset? Was that where I needed to go? Was it that serious? Was everything I love threatened? No? Okay. Then what's going to be my plan B? What's going to be my trigger to allow myself to think first? Or dodge differently. Give myself permission to have another kind of knee-jerk reaction. Because there's fight or flight, there's freeze, there's hide, but you know what else there is? Flex. Lean. I used to say lean to avoid the lightning. Maybe that's a good one. Maybe that's a good one. Because as we look around us, You know what's really sad and exhausting beyond our own sadness and exhaustion? Is how unhappy so many people are. Is how hard it is to find somebody in our circle of people who's smiling for no other reason than they're glad and grateful to be alive today. We are so exhausted because we're stuck in survival mode. We're having a really hard time being glad that the sun is out. I said to somebody the other day, isn't it fabulous the sun is out? Yeah, it's going to rain later. Okay, really? It's also going to be dark and you'll be in bed asleep. For heaven's sake. They don't even want to celebrate the moment that's fabulous because they're focused on the next one that isn't. That's not healthy. It's not fun. And I've told this story. My days are bonus days. My days are bonus days. I was supposed to die, or clearly not supposed to die, in a very scary accident when I was in my teens. And I'm here, causing everyone the utmost damned astonishment. There would have to be something incredibly ungrateful about me to forget that every single one of these days is a bonus day. I would have to be incredibly selfish and stupid and mean-spirited. And I wasn't wired that way. However, I can feel sorry for myself when my pants don't fit. I can feel sorry for myself on certain days when I look in the mirror in the morning and I go, oh, geez, when did that happen? We're all capable of that. We're also capable, though, of saying, not bad, and heading out the door. And I think if we have slipped off the path, it's perfectly reasonable. No need to beat ourselves up. We've been going through a very difficult time. My friend Charles lives in an area of the United States that roughly every 15 minutes gets hit by a hurricane. Have you noticed that, Charles? It may not be every 15 minutes, but it seems like with alarming regularity. You read about people who live in Tornado Alley. Okay, just because your grandparents lived there, is that the right place to choose to live if you had a choice? Tornado Alley? So if we have these things that come, if we are getting, difficult weather, and if prices are temporarily going up, you know what's going to happen? They're going to go down. That's what they do. That's what things do. In the meantime, why would you voluntarily, deliberately walk around like your tie is caught in your zipper? I was talking to somebody the other day, bless their heart, who said, I don't know. She said, I envy you. And I said, well, thank you. Why? And she said, well, look at you. You just, you look great. And I said, well, thank you very much. So do you. She said, no, I don't. No, see, the lines around my mouth are all going down, and I this and I that. And I said, well, why don't you put your shoulders back and smile more? And she said, listen, if you knew my life. And I said, honey, I do know your life. I do know your life. Why are you choosing to act like it's terrible? Your life isn't terrible. There are people with more terrible than you. You have bad days. Bad things happen. Yes. There's no reason to give up on yourself. There's no reason to say, well, there's not much point in getting dressed. No reason to put on lipstick. Yes, there is. You put on lipstick because it's a fabulous color. Every time I pick up my lipstick, I look at the color, the little color thingy on the end, and I say, I love that color. And I put on the lipstick. It doesn't show up well on the camera here, but that's Facebook. But as I put that on, as I put on my earrings, the ones with the little stars, and I say, okay, stars are shining, we're up, we're out, we're on. I am giving myself permission to find the joy in my moments. I'm I'm trying and I'm succeeding. You know how I know? Because people keep saying, must be nice. Yes, it is. A woman the other day said to me, I love your hair. And I said, well, thank you. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Is it natural? And I said, no. She was quite surprised. Oh, I'm sorry. And I said, don't be sorry. I said, I'm very proud of this decision. I was born a blonde. And I loved being a blonde. But as we get older, red is a kinder and more forgiving and fabulously flamboyant alternative. So today's video was meant to get me, selfishly, get me on the right track for this rather difficult, tricky part of the Pivot Tree in Motion book, to help me massage the things I meant to say, to hear them, and then when I play the video back, to figure out if I said anything awful, to make sure it resonates. Because once it's in print and you publish the book, you have no ability to say, okay, read it this way, stand under this light, and this is your better side. Once the person buys the book, it's their book, it's their content, it's their advice to take or not. And so the best I can do, the role I choose to play, is make it as clear as I can, and available and intriguing and accessible and curiosity triggering, so that the reader says, I like that. Huh. That reminds me of a thing that my mother or my uncle or my grandfather used to say. And if that happens, I've done my job. If that happens, this fabulous opportunity today to connect with you, see your comments, reply to them as I can, or later, has given me the insight and the sharper tools to get it right. And that matters. Going all the way back to the story about the people at the gas station. They didn't take the opportunity to say, do you have a minute? And call a decision maker and say, I'd like you to speak to one of our customers. And allow me to get on the phone and say, I live here. I shop here. All I want to do is take advantage of your very clever, very wise affiliate marketing program. And someone in your chain of command has made that an uphill climb. And I'd like to report it. That's what I would have done if the person at the desk had decided that it mattered, had decided to take a chance. And they didn't. They just let everything keep going. And how it was going was a downward spiral. They would say to themselves, ultimately, these affiliate marketing programs don't work. We didn't get anybody coming in. I wonder why. So, we are emotional beings. We are also incredibly smart beings. We are strategic beings. We have 3 brains. We have the keep them alive emotional cave brain. We have the let's do this actor brain. And we have this one, the prefrontal cortex strategic stage manager brain, that says, okay, here's the thing. That shirt doesn't go with those pants. But I love the earrings. We would be silly if we didn't take advantage of all of these brains. Use all of the information they give us to make the choice that works best for us. We'd be crazy. I'd still think I was allergic to cats. How silly is that? So, kind of a weird video today. I realize that. But I was so stuck. I was so stuck on this spot in the book. And I had to get it right. And I thought, I can't get on a video and say, okay, so all you writers out there, tell me what to do. I needed to talk to you, because it's your book. I needed to talk to you about the way people go through things on automatic pilot. And I needed to see your reactions. I needed to hear your similar stories. I love, by the way, Garen said that his mother put fresh flowers on the table every day. And he was never sure if she knew, if she was aware, and she did it anyway. Because his father, her husband, was allergic to them. I don't need to know the answer. It's just such a wonderful image. Either it's, ho ho, they're so pretty, her husband, or they're so pretty. We'll never know. Anyway, it's a beautiful week if we choose to see it that way. It's a beautiful day. And you are amazing. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for prioritizing this. Thank you for setting aside all the distractions and focusing on us for this time. I just checked the time. I'm a little shorter than last time, so this is all good. Before we go, I want to thank you very much. I got 2 more subscribers on YouTube. That's really cool. We're at 76. I'm so excited. We're only 4 away from 80. Just saying. So if you know anyone, or if you haven't decided to subscribe yet, I will post the YouTube channel link again and invite you to subscribe and tell your friends. Please comment here. I'm also available, or these are also available on the other Facebook page and on LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter. So if people are saying, oh, I don't do Facebook, you can say, well, she's on all these other sites. And so when you just go directly to YouTube, here's the link. And we can start building our tribe of people who don't go through life on autopilot, who do cherish the moments when we are present and accounted for. And we all of us, people like us, also know who's driving the bus. It's us. Okay. Thursday is in 2 days. I'll see you then. Until then, be good to you. Hug your loved ones. Thor says thank you.